Sparking Change with Gigi, a show that aims to make the world a better place by bringing together authentic minds. This show encourages each of us to be the change we wish to see in the world. Get ready to be inspired and join us on this journey to create a brighter future for all.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Sparking Change with Gigi. On today's show, I'm excited to bring a special guest. We're going to be talking about igniting action for success, because just around this time is when we start to give up on our goals, or we procrastinate, and sooner or later we lose sight of our goals. So my guest star today is Adora Crystal Evans. She is welcome Adora. She is the Napoleon Hill Institute USA president. Hello and welcome.
Thank you.
I'm so glad to have you here, Adora. I mean, you really inspire me and a lot of people with action, right? Action. And just, we've been talking about this whole month about goals, setting goals. In January, we'll all set goals. And sooner or later, we start to get complacent and we just make our goals like disappear because, it's getting tougher. So I wanted to take this opportunity to really get people excited again about their goals, right? Get them excited to know that they can be accomplished. We are the ones who set the stage, and whether we get in motion or we procrastinate. And we lose that momentum, that motivation. And one of the things that we studied is because we don't have a major definite purpose. But before we get into that, can you say a little bit about yourself and what you've been doing, and so the audience can get to know you a little bit?
Yeah, and I'll be brief here because I know everybody's got an incredibly fascinating story. When you pull back the curtains, everybody does. And I love your topic today about how to get unstuck, or if you haven't even gotten going yet. There are a lot of people in January that it's like, it feels like the slowest start to January ever. They haven't even jumped in yet. So whether you haven't started or you started and you have slowed down, this is the episode where we're going to ignite that fire. Giovanna's going to ignite it. I'm going to ignite it. You're going to ignite it. So let's go. Let's grow. So as you mentioned, I feel really grateful to get to oversee the U.S. territory for the Napoleon Hill Institute. Think and Grow Rich was a monumental book in my life. If you didn't read the bio, I went from living in a boarded up home at 18 with no electricity to a little bit of I lived on my own at 12, kind of a peppy long stockings life with no supervision. And in the 80s, when there were all kinds of things we're more careful about with our kids now, right? So at 18, I got turned on and tuned into self-development. I invested in a business instead of paying for my electricity. And I met Jim Rohn on a Walkman radio, a battery operated. And he sold me on my life could be different. And even if I couldn't see it, that he could see it. And if I had faith in him, hook into that faith. He told me, and I felt like he was talking back to me. I know you've had those moments. He told me, my apologies, get mentors. If you can't find them, the library is full of them. So I read 80 something books that year and started to see my life shift. I had a one-time check of over close to $8,000. And I could see that even though I wasn't solving it all and it wasn't this overnight miracle, I could see these jumps in experience through taking action. So I got addicted to that. And back then, all the books in the back had a list of their favorite books. And so Think and Grow Rich was in, I don't know one that it wasn't in. It's possible, but I don't know one that it wasn't
Right.
in. And so I found myself after that kind of wake up going into this roller coaster of married, divorce, working in a nightclub, wanting to get out, but addicted to the fast money. And also I had a skewed identity that was deeper in my subconscious mind. I thought my value and my worth were solely in my body and my beauty. Even though I was putting all this great stuff in the fresh soil, there was deeper stuff going on still, right?
Right.
And so a breakdown moment happened there. And I went, okay, I've got to get out of this club. And I read Think and Grow Rich and went to Landmark Education. And I wrote down, I want to interview successful people. It's one of the things I want to do. Napoleon Hill seemed to work out for this guy. I want to do that. So someone
put it to the test, right?
Yeah. So someone from that club, no one knew I wrote it down. No one knew what happened, why I left. He called and said, look, there's a job I had, gave me a great skill set. They're hiring. I can get you the interview. I was in a desperate yes. Saw this guy go from 0 to hero. I got an Ann Taylor suit, buried that I ever worked in a nightclub, tried to look older, put my makeup, like now we try to look so young. I'm like, what would you do? Why would you do that to you? You know, trying to look older. And that job was as a producer on the Discovery Channel for Pat Summerall Productions. And all day long, I was calling CEOs of companies that were revenuing over $10 million. And I was interviewing them. And I wasn't even done with the book. I wasn't even done with Think and Grow Rich. So I'll speed it up and just bring it to here, land that part of the plane, but that part of our journey, land the plane on that part of our journey. So that just opened all these doors because I got this incredible skill set of being able to reach influential decision makers and to draw the opportunity and the connection I could get them to say yes quickly. And so I got this nickname Celebrity Connector, and that took me all over, from working with a designer who dressed Prince. I got to dress Katy Perry, Rihanna. We flooded the fashion industry again with peace signs in 2006. And I got to work as a writer for a fashion and art magazine in Egypt, working with all their celebrities, and have got to work on the movie The Secret. I've done so many things from that one defining moment, which makes it really cool to get to participate in other people, because, you know, Napoleon Hill has impacted Oprah, Tony Robbins, like all these different people. So to get to participate in that, you know, work, that was another moment that I felt was talking to me, is really, really, really cool.
But you took a lot of action. I mean, that couldn't have happened on its own, right? You stayed focused to what you wanted. You put that goal down.
No. No, I did not, which is actually a good thing. Yes and no. So yes, I was not focused. I was I like this, I like this, I like this, I like this, right? But here's what I did do. I did keep clarifying what my focus was. And you have to understand, Giovanna, that was a time when everybody was saying like purpose-driven life and everything has to be done with a purpose. And it felt like this big important thing that you had to discover. And I did not want to get it wrong. So I was always going, God, what's my purpose? What's my purpose? Oh, that's my purpose. And so it kind of sent me on quite a journey. But the good news is, because I stayed the course of consistently putting this stuff in, refining what is it that I want? What am I here for? Who am I here to be? And then taking action, that the leaps happened. And why do I say that's good news? Because so many of us think we beat ourselves up when we get off course.
Sure.
We beat ourselves up when we start a goal in January and then drop the ball and and then that could take you out for a whole year, for 10 years with that mess. But
Sure.
but just knowing, we're imperfect beings, and that is perfect. And just a little pocket of inspired action, a little pocket, when you get, the Bible calls it a little mustard seed, something so tiny.
Yes.
Because when I tell you that I had so much to work through in my 20s, and yet looking back, people seeing me were going, wow, you're living. My family, and even me, I could recognize this is epic. What's happening? Like, what's opening? And yet it wasn't all together. It wasn't like I was 90% of the time on it and on track. I was probably, especially in my 20s or 30s, because I was still conditioning, like 20s, I was conditioning and reacting. 30s, I'm getting better. More of this stuff's deeper in the soil, right? 40s. So I was probably off track more than I was on track. And I'm putting that in quotes because, look, our babies walk when they walk. They talk when they talk. It's perfect, the journey. But I was off more than I was on. However, and this is important to action and goal setting and pursuing it, key is I kept getting back on the track, just like that rocket ship. You keep going back to center, keep going back to center. So some years it looked like, what the hell?
You knew.
Right?
Yes. You knew when you were off track because it wasn't in alignment. You were maybe struggling to get something done, or you were getting to a dead end, or you're just, you're ready to give up and you're like, okay, I need to get back on tracks. I'm not doing something right, to just be in alignment with whatever you really wanted to do.
Yeah, I listen. And the reason I keep camping out on this, that I was off more than I was on, is because anytime you start something new, and especially if you've got years and years of programming and training, like some people don't even wake up to this material until they're in their 40s, right? I used to beat myself up for not being positive more, not having, and looking back, I'm just so grateful that it didn't take perfection, because the first at least 10 years, when it came to my body, for instance, and Louise Hay, and I got to love my body, love myself, speak life. My automatic way of being was criticizing my body. When I would look in the mirror, and I would say, no, I love my body. But you know what? I look at my body now, and this has been 10, 15 years through and my first inkling is appreciation and love because of years of programming. So my point of that is, and I didn't have to get it perfect again and again early for the stuff to get working. It only takes a little pocket of your faith and your action, and boom, a big leap can happen. Even if then you go to new level, new devil, where am I? Who am I? And I just think that's so important to know, because it's stressful, or at least it used to be stressful to me. Like, dang, I got to think more positively. Even that is a beat up. You see?
Yes.
Instead of just getting back on track. And that's what we need to do with our goals in January.
No, and that's right. We self-sabotage ourselves, our goals, that kind of prevent us from taking that next step, right? Because we're getting into the uncomfortable zone. I mean, we do this discipline camp every morning for a reason, right? To stay on track, to change those old habits. That's what you mentioned. We have that programming that absolutely, when you look at the scope of what we do on a daily basis, we're on autopilot, on autopilot. And until we recognize that and become aware that, every day I'm doing the same thing. How can I expect different results and have something more in my life or do more or be happier if I'm in the same job for 30 years? I haven't moved, I'm comfortable because that's what it is. We're in our comfort zone. And as soon as we get a little bit uncomfortable, we have two things. Either we're going to face the fear, right? And we're going to say, whatever happens, happens, or we give up.
That's
And
true.
it's either faith or fear, like you said before. Give a little faith that it's going to be okay, whatever happens. I mean, even for myself, I never had in my plans that I was going to be a TV host or producer. Like that wasn't part of my agenda for sure. And when you give a little faith, you just, things come up that are meant for you. You start to discover like, okay, wow, I'm on this beautiful path now. Wow, how did I get here? Right? You don't even know how you get there.
It's so true. And I think it's really important to allow for the grace along the way. And that actually keeps you in the game the long term. So I'm describing my 20s that felt like wrangling this wild animal into like this vision. I always held the vision. I always had habits. I was always reading. I was very consistent with those things. And through years, it tipped many of those beliefs just turned them over on their head. But it's kind of like, say you have a goal in January that you're going to get fit and start working out. And you start working out and you're like, yeah, I'm sore. Ooh, that's a little tighter. Oh, my energy, because I've been doing those green smoothies or whatever, grinding turmeric up in the blender, whatever your thing is, butter in the coffee, whichever diet you're on. And you're like, wow, I have this energy. But you look at the scale and your clothes and you're like, nothing's happening, nothing's happening. And that's kind of like my life in the 20s, is that things were happening, big things, big openings. And yet a lot of the day-to-day still looked the same. Like it doesn't always just completely shift overnight. And so we need to honor and appreciate give ourselves grace, stay the course. If you fall off, just get back on rather than next week. Like, get on now, wherever you are. If you blew your diet in the middle of the day, get on now. How can I get back on right now? Not a restart, because it's very defeating to go, I'm restarting. You blow your integrity with yourself, and it's just so much momentum. And then usually when you restart, you're like, now I can do all the crappy things I want because I'm restarting tomorrow. Right? And you make it worse, and then it's like even more. So just get back on and play the game that you never stop. Maybe you slowed down, maybe your GPS got a little off and you got to make a U-turn, but you never stopped. That already is a winner mentality. It's already going to set you up like, you know what, I got knocked down, but here I am. I never stopped. I'm living a lifestyle of health and wellness. I'm living vitality, joy, peace, whatever, right? And then the other thing is, like, there are going to be big quantum leaps, like your TV show or whatever my experience, or the dream man or woman that you're manifesting or whatever. But then there are also all the little small things that, it's getting a little that you don't see. It's like watching your kid grow. You don't see it all overnight. It's like you look at a picture from 8 years old to 10 and you're like, what happened? 8 to 12, what happened? And that is the way it goes with us. And I think sometimes we're too focused on every little detail and making room for grace, not quitting, like you said, just reframing it like, I'm back on track now. I'm back on. And then committing. And action is absolutely. In fact, I'm a person, Giovanna, when I'm watching something or listening to something and it hits, I start taking out. If they say, send a gratitude message, boom, boom. If they say, go join, I'm like, I'm already taking action. And if it has a pause button, I pause it and I go do something, because once I know a truth in my mind, I feel weird inside if I don't act in alignment with it. I feel incongruent. I feel out of integrity. So I need to run the play somehow. Like I need it, or I feel weird,
Right, because you built a new habit and you're like, wait a minute, I need to do something, or something is missing. We're going to take a short commercial break, and we're going to come back and talk about how we can reignite the goals that we have written down in January to really, get the momentum back starting. Yeah. So we'll take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Okay. Now, the vast majority, approximately 95% of the people of all countries, go around and around without aim or purpose. They drift with the circumstances of life, good or bad.
A drifter is one who permits himself to be influenced and controlled by circumstances outside of his own mind.
Whereas the successful individuals create their own circumstances and ride them to victory.
When you're on purpose, you're living on purpose. You will never quit if you have a real purpose.
A burning desire to be and to do is the starting point from which the dreamer must take off. But what I have done has been recorded, it's been tested, it's being taken to a free world, and it's going to benefit millions of people who are not yet born.
And it's going to benefit millions of people who are not yet born. We're some of those people. That we're spreading this to the world. As your awareness grows, the doubt is gone, so that you can manifest whatever it is your heart desires. Isn't that beautiful?
Isn't that beautiful?
It always is, right? So we want to talk about how can we ignite the goals that we set for at the beginning of the year. For me, writing down my goal every day, multiple times a day, is one of the ways that I keep it in my mind and always remind myself, why am I doing what I'm doing? What is my ultimate aim, purpose, right? And if it's in alignment, you are able to break through whatever fears you have. Can we talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. This is a really good point. I remember, like everyone, I've had goals that I just hit right away and went, how did that happen? With so much. And then I had goals that were in my journals for years and almost on autopilot, and like still felt like they would be like winning the lottery when they happened or something, right? And I got really curious about, why do some of these go and some of them don't? I have a lot of theories about that, but I'm going to use some stories from recent that I think anyone can apply the same kind of questions or question how they're processing their why. Because if you've been doing goal setting for a while, you're like, okay, I have a why that makes you cry. What is it? It's for this, it's for that. And maybe you drum up the emotions, but still aren't getting into action, right? So this year, I always set 3 major goals for the year, like 3 major, like these would make the year in my life this year really, really epic. So one of those goals, I was not planning for a fitness goal, because my fiance owns a supplement company. We met in a gym. We work out every day. Like, it's so a part of our culture we're always setting new goals. It just didn't seem like something. But then I started thinking about 80-year-old Adora and what she's like. And I've always had this joke that she's wearing red sparkly dresses and taking tango lessons and is very like foxy and sassy. And what I realized is all the training that I've been doing is bodybuilding and explosive and no mobility and very like actually anti-mobility, right? I do some foam rolling and some cold plunging and things like that. And I just went, if I'm going to be that woman, I need to get flexible. And so it started inspiring me as I started looking at my friends that are in their 60s, 70s, 80s, and how some of them move, like, and the ones who really started taking care of mobility and balance, and especially if I want to tango. And then I went, okay, so I am going to name one of my goals is Sparkly Bendy Fitness for 2024. And so I'm going to dance more and start taking up yoga. And I made the as miniature things under that. It would be great if I could do the splits by the end of the year, if I could do headstands so that my shoulders and upper body and core are really strong. And now where since I was 15, I've worked out, even younger than that. In all those years, I have not ever been able to commit to a yoga class. And I'm in 6 a week right now, happy and feeling it and all the tools and I've never loved it in my life, even though I had do the splits for many years, get more flexible. But it was this why that is beyond because it would be nice, that
Right.
strong vision of a future and a compelling future. And there were also some costs in that. Like if I don't embrace mobility, okay, even without the tango, do I want to be a woman that's walking around like this or that can't work out anymore because I'm not flexible and there's an injury or something? So I'll let you come back on anything you want to say on that one. Then I'll give another example.
Yeah, no, I just love that because you're visualizing what you want to be and you're preparing ahead of time for that, right? And you're taking action now for then, which the best part about it is not then when you get there, but seem like you're really enjoying your classes and yoga and doing everything now along the way. So in essence, you've written your journey.
And I wrote
it. Doing the work.
Yeah, and I wrote it in a way that unlocked the joy in the journey. See, like before, I mean, I love being strong. I love fitness. I love Brazilian butt lift workouts. You know, I love all that. I love working out with my man. I love sprints. And I couldn't unlock the joy in the journey, but that sparkly dress, the vision of tango, the joy. And it started to bring in now that even though it's challenging, I'm a newbie in there. So imagine I taught fitness classes for many years. So in most fitness classes, I'm at the front of the room. And now I'm bending over, trying to get my toes. I'm not at the top of my game. So what do you think? I'm facing all the emotions other people face. I'm not there yet, the frustration, the heat, all the creakiness, the worn out, but I'm loving it because of the vision. And that's what you were talking about with definite purpose and knowing your why. I'll give one more example. I've had on my goals forever. I just like everybody else, I put these houses and closets and tubs, but I never connected to it. I've created TV shows, working with celebrities, living in other countries, having a maid, a chef, I've created so many things, but never really prioritized moving into a house. In fact, I was happy with just a little town home, and and I'd forgotten. My best friend reminded me after I made some shifts, and I'll tell you those shifts, but I had forgotten that when I moved into my old town home, spoiler alert, I've moved, right? But when I moved into my old town home as a single mom, I said, I'm going to keep my daughter here as long as I can so she has stability. I went to 13 schools before 9th grade. I moved all of my adult life. I wanted her to have this stable thing. And I forgot I had made that goal. And so here we are, my fiance moves in, his bike's in the living room. We're all on top of each other. We've got a new dog that can barely, and so I just start creating this vision of, you know what, we need more space because my dog has a lot of energy and deserves a companion, and there's no room for another dog here. They need a yard. You know what? Zaina's friends coming over and sleeping over, family coming in. We need more rooms. You know what? I'm tired of my office being in the kitchen. I think having an office. And so I had to not tap into some people it works, the beauty of a great house or keeping up with the Joneses or whatever. None of that was doing it for me. What really opened and unlocked the vision for it, and then the resources and the motion, was the love of my children, the vision of my family and family coming over and spaciousness. Right. And boom, then it was done in, a matter of months. I think it was like 5 months or 6 months after. And I would tell my dog, help me manifest your soulmate dog friend, help me find the perfect house, help me find a big yard, and that was an aha. So that is the starting point, is make sure that if you're setting the goal, like, do you really have meat on the bone with it? I've been talking to a farmer friend who says meat on the bone a lot. But is there really juice there that you really care about? Or are you just throwing something out there because you think it's the right thing to do, or the doctor says you should, but you really don't care? And like, sift through, what of this is really mine and inspiring to me? And maybe go out further, like I did as the 80-year-old self. Right. And then go, okay, now that I'm really inspired, why am I inspired? And while I love those 7-layer deep, right, for my children, for the family, for the world, you're bawling, I love that. Sometimes it's about something else, and let it be about whatever it is for you. It could just be, you want it because you had an aunt who had a car like that and you loved it. I don't know, but find out, okay, what is really mine? And then the whys that actually move you and move you into action. Get that clear, but don't wait around. Okay. Don't say, I'm going to sit down with my why and procrastinate another week because you're too busy to sit down.
Right. Of course.
Maybe you already know what your goal is. So take some kind of aligned action. Do it messy, do it imperfect, but the world of reality happens out here. Like, action is one of the highest forms of prayer. It says, this is where I'm headed. I believe the result is mine. I am moving as the healthy, fit person. So if you don't have a super clear vision, but fitness matters to you and that was the goal, then go sign up for ClassPass, try some things, go to the gym, go get a trainer, do something.
Do something is the key. Exactly. Because you don't know what you like, what you don't like, what you can, what you can't. sometimes this self-talk just talks us out of it. You know, you mentioned something before, and all of this takes discipline, right? It's just really being committed to yourself. And Cleona, you know, I'll never forget, she said, when we're looking at the word discipline, it's like a negative notation, right? But she goes, now a new way of looking at it, it's self-love. It's taking care of you, giving yourself commands, following it so that you can achieve whatever that goal is that you want. So sometimes the words that we say to ourselves have a big impact on our motivation.
Yeah.
Right. And the other thing that I want to say is looking at someone else, comparing to what someone else has, and say, I want that because someone else has it. That can also be something that will not drive you because it's not your own. Because I know, not that I think, each one of us brings in gifts, talents that we can offer to the world. And that process of finding out what it is that we like to do is part of those gifts that you're going to, you know, give to others. That's going to bring joy to you. Because I do believe we get more joy out of giving than receiving. Right? So, and that's really ultimately when we set goals is we want more joy, happiness, freedom, right? We're not setting goals just because of attaining material things. It's the process of who we become when those goals have achieved. One way that I know for myself that has helped me tremendously is getting a mentor. It would not have happened. I would not be here where I am if I didn't have someone who believed in me more than I believed in myself. And I think that is sometimes the showstopper, right? Because of all that garbage that happened in the past, all those experiences that we have gone through, especially the negative ones, they kill our self-belief, right? So we create beliefs that are not true about us.
So true. Mentors, I think mentors, sometimes it's about having someone who believes in you and can see a vision. But even people that believe in themselves, believe in their capacity, mentors you want the mentors to be the people that have been where you want to go, and they can give you, it is the shortcut. I mean, it really is a superpower shortcut because they're invested in how many ever hours. And I know you've spent thousands of hours and dollars on your own personal development. Same here, and my own experience and all of that. So when someone new into coaching or new into getting on stages or new and any area, fitness, any area that I love, and I'm not brand new, I've actually got some mastery, some money, some investment behind it, some success. Then when I sit with them or you sit with them, even if they believe in themselves, they're smart, they're all that, what I can save them from or a mentor can save them from is not spending thousands of dollars and hours spinning their wheels over here, over there, you just give no, you don't need that. You just need this and go over here. And this is your who, and this is, and so sometimes the mentor is there for belief and vision, and they hold and they can see that highest vision of you. But even people who are really successful, amazing, incredible, Lance Armstrong screwed it up, right? But Lance Armstrong was known for having 3 coaches at one time. Michael Jordan, at the top of his game, had multiple coaches, and not because he was not this great athlete or something was wrong with him. It was because if any one of them could see even one thing that would tweak them, improve his game. And that's what the value. It's why I have several coaches. It's why you have several coaches, mentors. It's super powerful. It's so powerful. It's a powerful
Absolutely.
quantum leap hack.
Yes. And it comes down to, like you said before, getting someone to help you through the process to a shortcut, right? Because success, was Tony Robbins say, success leaves clues.
Yeah.
So therefore, if your coach has been through it, there are some clues there, and we all have the same amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter who you are, how famous you are, we all have 24 hours in a day.
Mm-hmm.
And how fast you want to accomplish your goals, basically, is all up to you, right? If you're a go-getter and you really want to, accomplish big things before your time is up,
Yeah.
obviously a mentor or a coach is the way to go. I mean, we've had mentors and coaches growing up, right? Our moms, our parents, our teachers. Then we go to college, our professors, and then we're thrown out into the world. I said, okay, you're on your own. And you're like, where do I go? What do I do? And, I just feel that now more than ever, being the way the world is, how we have to become so independent and really create the life that we want without depending on others, meaning a big corporation for that check. I was listening to the song today, 9 to 5 from Dolly Parton.
Oh gosh, yeah, I remember that song.
And I'm like, oh my God, that was me. Yeah, I was working that 9 to 5. Granted, I wanted more and I was working late, but it was always just a job. Now it's a whole different view because my goals have changed. It's no longer I want to work to get that degree or to get that job to the next level. It's I want to be at the next level. It's not the title. So that's a big difference, right? A big difference when it's not about something outside of you, but it's everything to do with you. And the goals that have to do with you are the ones that make you grow into the person that you're meant to be.
It's
and
so
enjoy
good.
this life, right?
So good. So good. Yeah. And I think people are getting it, and it makes sense that, I think of even in this handstand world I'm telling you about, I've been in the fitness industry for so long, and I was trying a pose and I thought that I had like my form perfect, and I recorded to see, and I was like, I was supposed to be like a 90 degree and I was more like a mountain and I was like, oh my gosh. And that's the thing, whether it's in the gym and you think even, things, whatever. I like to say the best heart surgeon in the world should not do heart surgery on themselves, right? Like
Exactly.
having someone outside that's focused on you, on your goals, on where you're going, to help you just process or see a perspective or unlock an idea or unblock a belief that you haven't even questioned. It's very, very powerful. It's really cool.
Absolutely. And I want to add to that is that personal development is big right now. But when I was 10 years ago, I never even heard of it. Right. And there's some people today still not aware of what personal development is all about. Right. Because we're so focused on, let's go get that college degree. Let's go get that master's degree. And again, that is something that is outside of us, that yes, it's an accomplishment, but compared to, studying ourselves and our true potential and what we can do, it's night and day. It's literally night and day, and I talk from having 2 master's degree, that if I could have done this, I would save myself a lot of money. But it's true, because you're really becoming such a your mindset is changing. How you're feeling about yourself, you're changing. The goals are no longer, I just want to make $100,000 this year.
Yeah.
It's not about that any longer. And the freedom, the peace, and everything that comes with it when you go into self-development is, I'm still blown away with the things that I see and the experiences that I'm having, knowing that I'm in charge of me in all aspects. I'm in charge of me from the minute I wake up to the minute I go to sleep. And I get to make the decision whether I want to entertain a thought, an idea, right? And I'm in charge of my feelings. So when we are in charge of our inner being, it's limited opportunities that we can have.
Absolutely.
But there's a lot of inner work. Let's not forget that. Like you said, you had to go into digging your beliefs, right?
It's one of my favorite things because of what is possible. I mean, what is possible with even one idea or identity shift. And it's, again, those shifts are about, there's so much that we take on because that's what our parents did, or it was the opposite of what our parents did, and we just wanted to do the opposite of whatever they did. Or it was the neighborhood you lived in, or the Italian family you're part of, or the all the different, things that feel real and they feel like they're yours. But when you start peeling them back and questioning, you go, oh, this doesn't really belong to me. It's something I learned as a 5-year-old little girl was true and was reality. So what do I want to create from this freedom to be and to create and what really happens there? It's more than, like you said, it's more, yes, income happens, yes, homes, houses, families, but it's legacies that shift. It's future generations moving in a brand new direction because one person made one choice outside of the, and that is just so powerful. It's people that would normally fight coming to understanding because they learned about personalities or love languages, or there's just so much richness in who we are and how we can connect with God, with family, with people, with life, with plants, with animals, with whatever is your jam, by being more connected inside and being curious. Who do I want to be? And like you said, rather than drifting and reacting and being on autopilot, and just, especially now, I mean, we have social media and things, billboards everywhere and advertisements everywhere, and things meant to just gain our attention so that products keep moving and ideas keep moving. And while that's all great and good, it's even more important to bring your stillness and your energy back into the house that you were given to control, lead, guide. It's powerful what's possible.
And I love that too, because you're really talking about being authentic, working from your authentic self. I share this quick story. Is I was born in Italy, and I changed when I came here to the U.S. We were in second grade, and I changed my name from Giovanna to Joanne. My sister changed her name from Magdalena to Marilyn, after Marilyn Monroe, right? Because we didn't want to be known as immigrants, because we were being picked on. So throughout my life, everyone knew me had to call me Joanne. No one called me Giovanna until I got into my 40s, and I'm like, I want Giovanna back. But I realized that Joanne wasn't my real authentic self. And a lot of struggles happen because of that.
Mm.
Sicknesses and all that. And that's what we have to look at. Sometimes we stop really being who we are to be something else, and realize that all that suffering and pain is occurring because you're not true to yourself.
Right.
And sometimes you lose sight of your goals because you're also not true to yourself. You're trying to become something that you're not meant to be.
Right.
Right. So it's so important to stay true to yourself, with what you want, not what somebody else wants for you. And we mentioned that before. So to take a look at those goals and say, is it really what I want from me? Is this going to make me happy, or is it going to make somebody else happy? And, Oprah says, fill up your cup first.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure you fill up your cup first, because when your cup is filled, then it can spill over and you can be the best version of yourself for your family
So true.
and for loved ones, right? So we have a few more minutes, and let's just talk about how, we can really begin to focus more on ourselves in order to reach our goals. Because I think sometimes we lose that connection because we're looking at someone else.
Yeah, well, I think it's okay to look at other people. I admire Oprah, and her level of contribution sparks something in me. So it's one thing to admire someone because they inspire you, or something in what they're doing represents something in you that's wanting to express. It's okay to look at someone and admire them because they're so different from you. And, you love, maybe, let's say, Giovanna, if you loved all the blonde people in the world, and just great appreciation, not from a love, from an adoration, from like, wow, curiosity. But when it comes down to honoring ourselves and who is it that I'm here to be, that means kind of turning down the volume. Maybe it's a list of, yeah, I like this, I like that. I've always loved to dance, things you loved to do when you were little. But really getting curious about, not who am I supposed to be, not what is the right answer, not what I wish I was more like someone else, but like, really, what lights you up. And if you don't know, curiosity, that's that. Go try some things, check out some things. If you do know, then making space and time for that, and either way, weaving that into why you're taking action on these goals. And one thing I would say is, especially if this is calling to you and you're like, I haven't been taking action on my goals, I'd like you to flip it and get into action, and then ask these questions as you go. And the reason I say get into the action is because all of us have inside, I can't say all of us because I'm not in all of your bodies. So I'll take that back and go, I think all of us have inside this thing that will come up when you're going to make a big shift or a big move, or you're going to get uncomfortable or whatever. And it shows up in different ways, but it could be like, I need to think about this more. I need to take a goal setting workshop. I need to, meditate in India, and the next thing isn't available till June. I just don't know myself. I can, you can sit around. It's so easy to talk about riding a bike and what you'll do when you finally get on that bike. But you're going to learn so much more getting on the bike. Like, okay, you did the work, now get on the bike, and you're going to learn what it means to balance, and you're going to figure out, and yeah, it's going to be a little bumpy and whatever at first, but getting into the game kind of gets rid of that part of ourselves that will procrastinate or make up reasons, or kind of jig around why we haven't started yet. And you will get clarity in the moment. How do you know whether or not you like chocolate ice cream? taste it, you know? And,
Absolutely.
but sitting around talking about it and thinking of the worst and the best and the blah, 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 like get in the game, right? Get in the game. The game is what we're here for. When you're a spirit and you're just floating and you know everything and you're doing, then you can watch everything and theorize and regroup, and who knows what spirits do when they're not in a body anymore, right? We'll figure that part out. But this is what we manifested, all of us, was we landed the real estate of a body and an identity and a personality that we get to run. We get to play the game of life with this body. So get in the game, not just sitting there with the remote. What do I do? I don't know what to do, you know?
Absolutely. I love that. And at the end of the day, success comes in so many different ways, right? It doesn't have to be all monetary.
That's right.
It's how you're feeling inside will create your outside world. So we are going to bring this for a landing. Adora, I appreciate you so much for coming and sharing, your wisdom and your story with us. I hope everyone, you've gotten the opportunity to take some notes, because I know we gave some little good nuggets here and there. And until next time, thank you so much for joining us, and take action. You are in charge, right? You're in the driver's seat. So thank you everyone for joining, and we'll see you on the next show.
Thank you for joining me on Sparking Change with Gigi. I hope that our episode today has ignited a spark within you to create positive change in your own life and in the world around you. To learn more about how you can become a guest or supporter, head over to sparkingchangenow.com. If you enjoyed today's episode, please consider subscribing, sharing, and leaving a review. Your feedback is incredibly valuable to me, and it helps me to continue producing content that sparks change in each of us and the world. You can find us on various platforms, including Google Play Store, Apple App Store, YouTube, Facebook, Roku, Android TV, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. Thank you again for watching, and I look forward to having you join me again next week on Sparking Change with Gigi.